That was the warm up, guys.
Okay,
Wow, I'm hot.
somebody forgot to press record on the audio device, and we have been speaking for the last, 45 minutes?
I'm sorry.
Wow.
So are we starting from the top?
Don't need lah. We just get Logan to cut through. We've just give a recap. This is James from Technobabble.
Hi.
Yeah. Kai, who runs Tic Tac Toe, famous? Yeah. Decently famous
Decently
channel. We'll link it in the description. Go follow Kai.
Yeah, so
Kicked James'
yeah,
butt.
if you're wondering, yeah, he didn't beat me up. Okay, just to give you context, basically one of the reasons why I started, obviously because I had my own reasons for doing it, but also Kairun was one of the guys that really pushed me to start the channel.
Have we met him?
No, but you can check out his videos.
Okay.
You can check out his videos.
He's my friend's husband.
No one can hear you, man.
Tiara's husband.
You're kidding! Oh my god, how small is this world?
How do you know who's Tiara? Yeah.
Wow.
So this video
Yeah.
is brought to you by Guinness.
Oh, half of a Guinness.
Yeah, because we're already halfway through, and then. But yeah, so Technobabble. What do you do in Technobabble? What made you want to do tech?
Well, yeah. So it's so funny talking about this again. There were many reasons, obviously, because I'm really passionate about tech. I love trying out new tech. I love playing around with different. I mean, I was also an audio engineer before, so I'm always like happy to try out like different audio equipment. So I have tested a lot of microphones. I've tested a lot of earbuds, earphones, headphones, and all that. But also, I work in IT. That's my day job right now. When you work in IT, you are IT support for your friends, your family.
Yeah, we get that as well.
You know, family's dog, whatever. And you get a lot of questions that I wouldn't say piss me off, but I always have to sit down and explain to them, like the questions they are asking are wrong or they're looking the wrong direction. So, and whenever I explain, they'll always be like, oh, that's a really good explanation. They never had anybody tell me this. So I was like, you know what? I will document it so the next time you can watch, don't ask me again. But no. So I thought of doing a tech review channel focus more towards education. Although the consequence of that is that my videos tend to be a bit long. But if you guys are patient enough, you watch, hopefully almost every video that you watch, you learn something new. And that you can take on, that even if you don't intend to buy the product that I'm reviewing, you learn something new that will make you better able to judge which one suits you better.
Okay, so then on that, what is your take on transparency and honesty, and when you do a review, do the brand say, okay, James, you have to frame it in this way, you can't say bad things about it? What's sort of the...
I won't lie, that request has been put in.
Yeah.
Every single time I have turned it down unless I found that my observations are inaccurate. But if they say that, hey, you can't say this, it makes us look bad, I'm like, but it's your product, it's my observations, I'm an independent channel, I'm not gonna take it down because of that. But I mean, to be fair, generally my reviews, I tend to be slightly more on the diplomatic side.
Yeah.
Sometimes if a product doesn't do so well, it's not always because the product sucks. I mean, there are other things to consider. You've got price point, you've got target audience, so other things might not be a priority.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to explain it.
So wait, so basically quite fair.
Yeah, I try to be fair.
Not overly positive, not overly negative for no reason. So I think that's really what...
Yeah, it's mostly towards education. If I feel that someone's saying something that is wrong, I don't go and say, oh, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. I try to explain why and put a proper perspective, I think. I try.
Who are the... I mean, we run a channel, we're watching this video on our channel, but we... I mean, who are the other tech tubers in Singapore that are, sort of successful? Because I think the Singapore market is very small.
Very small.
Very crowded. But still there are no, sort of that leading tech tuber like Linus, obviously, but...
No, and I don't think you're ever going to, for two reasons. One, I think is the fact that, not so much demographic, I think, okay, one good thing, but for me in Singapore, even though when I had like a couple of hundred subscribers, which is tiny, I still had companies willing to work with me because Singapore is so small. The flip side of it is that products take a long time to come to Singapore. So like if I review, like for example, I review a headset from Jabra. It's been in the market for 8 months. I've missed the boat.
True. And you lose that initial launch viewership.
Yeah, you miss the hype, which is why it's very hard to sort of break out tech review wise here.
Okay.
But not just that, the way YouTube works as well.
Trending.
Traffic, recommendations,
Yeah.
makes it very difficult for something to go global unless you get a product that is released and then you let it go.
Okay.
And then you do it at the same time. Like for example, I recently released like an unboxing and first impressions of the latest Realme phone. And
Okay.
it's only a few days from the global launch.
Okay.
It went up to like 4,000 views in a day.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So,
awesome.
but these are extremely few and far between. So that's the problem.
But you work quite closely with Asus, right? So won't
Yeah.
they sort of like ROG phone or those are also sort of pre-launch?
No, by the time I get them, it's a few months. In fact, ROG phone Singapore gets it a few months after. So by that time, like everyone, Linus, MKBHD, they've
Done
all
it,
done
okay.
their videos and everyone's seen it already. I try to offer a local perspective,
Yep.
but still, that's local. We've got 4 million people, 4 or 5 million people in Singapore. A small percentage of them be interested in the phone. So that makes it difficult. But at the same time, because it's so small and I've had the opportunity to work with so many brands despite my channel being this tiny, it's also an advantage. If I was in the US, trying to break up, it would be really difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, but to answer your question about like the biggest tech tubers in Singapore that I know of, one of the biggest, but specifically for audio products, is Aaron is Loud and Wireless.
Oh,
I
think you sent his link.
I
over.
really like his reviews.
Go check it out.
Yep.
In the comments
We have,
in the
we
description.
have a lot of links to put down.
This is a random channel with
Yeah.
a bunch of links at the bottom.
I like his reviews. They're good, and they're also informative, which I like. I hate, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to name anybody, but I hate reviews that are basically listing out marketing selling points.
It sounds like our reviews.
No, please lah. You got vlogs of your kid, which is so cute. No, but yeah, a lot of times I want to watch a review and I'll be like, dude, I want to know your experience. I want to know like the minus points or something that you realize about it. If you're just listing out the points that's on the website, I'll just go check out the website.
Yeah, okay,
you know
so
what I
you
mean? So that is my biggest fear of what my channel becomes. So I always make sure that I try not to do that. I know Tech360 does pretty good videos, although they are very short. The videos are very short. It's not too detailed. I prefer a detailed, but a lot of people also
Who
want.
runs Tech360? I think
I thought it was Straight Times, but I'm not sure anymore.
there's a whole bunch of like professional hosts.
Yeah. They
That's not fair.
okay. So then maybe let's narrow it down to fully independent. Yeah, like people like me who are working on my budget.
I think I quite like this guy, Shaun. It's a Shaun Cole.
Hey, stop plugging yourself, lah. Okay.
No, what is his name? Shaun Cole?
The real Shaun Cole?
No.
Yes, Shaun Cole.
Shaun Cole. Not, but that's the real Melton.
Oh shucks, you're right.
Yeah, Real Matan is another friend of mine. Shaun Cole, I actually started connecting with him and speaking with him quite recently.
I like his videos. Very concise.
Production-wise, brilliant.
Production, brilliant.
I actually started chatting with him on Instagram because he was asking me some questions as well. I was chatting with him.
Yeah.
And then when I reviewed a TV, local TV, and then he redid it first, but his TV is very short, very precise. It's got the points there.
Prism.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know whether the Prism Plus TV. Right.
Yeah.
So
It's good TV.
it's good for the price. Yeah. And that's why I was so detailed in mine.
Yeah.
So
I really like the stands. They are the nice.
the canvas stand
canvas
is
stand.
beautiful, but I mean there are also minus points to it, lah, which I also mentioned.
Really, the only minus point I think is if I had a dog.
I wanted to use some of his B-roll because it's just so good.
Yeah.
And also because I bought the quad stand, he bought the tripod.
So
I
you
wanted
can
to show
compare
the two. So, but very, very friendly guy.
Yeah.
I believe he's done some video for Tech360. I think because I think he's a professional editor. Maybe, which explains why his videos are so beautiful.
No, what I really like, I mean, I'm not plugging him or anything. You can check out my thing in the video.
Check it out! Yeah.
It's because I like camera gear. We're shooting with a BMP CC 4K with a Sony A7 S3 which we got from Ellen Photo. So Ellen Photo's the best. I'm plugging them because they're my bros. But anyway, when he did his Edelkrone slider video,
Yes.
that was the most comprehensive video I've seen in the international scene.
I actually saw it because
You know-
I was thinking of buying a slider and a motorized slider. Yeah.
This guy has spent some serious time. He knows his camera, he knows his gear, and he's loving the creating content. I really respect that. So Shaun's one of my favorite.
He's not one of the biggest, but I would say in terms of production quality and information, I would say one of the best.
Who's the biggest?
The one
Technobabble.
that I know. No, biggest physique fine lah. I'm probably one. But I think Aaron, as far as let's just say biggest basically is just number of subs. Let's put it that way. Aaron is not what I think is one of the biggest because he's got over 30,000
Oh shit!
subscribers. So by
high.
Singapore standards, tech review wise, that's high. I mean, you've got your like 9-hour cinematics and all that hit 1 million.
Yeah.
But that's not our category. So specifically for tech, I would say my knowledge that there might be more. I know there's also Julian something.
From Night Owl, right? NOC.
He was a Night Owl guy, and then he started his own tech like a channel.
I think he's quite successful as well. Like
It grew overnight. But I think because it's got the following. I'm not saying it's not unjustified. I'm just saying that maybe that's why it got so big so quickly. But I haven't watched that much of his videos. But that one also production-wise very good.
Yeah, I think quite relatable.
Yeah.
Very. So the way we do things is very B-roll centric. A lot of. I would say
for tech reviews, there's
high production quality, a lot of specs. But I think Julian does the more relatable, like, hey, I'm at Simlim, which shot am I going to, kind of thing, which maybe we'll do someday. But this time we're just more comfortable, sitting in our studio, not going out, staying until 10 p.m. every day. Wonder why the camera is dead.
Good question, Logan.
You got Real Meltan doing. Real Meltan focuses on PC components.
Yeah.
Good guy, good information, but it's overloaded with information. So I would say if you really want in-depth like review, because you've got his friend Gordon also when he talks about it's so in-depth that I watch his videos and I feel like I learned something. It might not be something that I might use practically, but there's so much information that he gives. He's actually quite incredible. Yeah.
I think he's one of the few that goes into the BIOS with like,
exactly.
This is what your BIOS looks like. This is how you can overclock some of the stuff. So I think
it's quite incredible. So it's a good channel for those guys who want to know everything about a PC component. Yeah, definitely go check that out.
Yeah, and I think because we're so small, the industry is so small. I think it's good that everyone sort of helps each other out, like exchange notes, and just basically grow the tech community here, because that's something we're sorely missing.
Yes.
And it's huge in the States. It's huge in Europe, but in Singapore it's just sort of.
I've had some of my friends ask me, it's like, hey, how do you compete with the other local tech viewers? I'm like,
what?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's not a competition. It's not like, for example, if let's say we're all selling cars, if someone buys my car, he's not gonna buy your car.
Correct.
But if we are tech tubers,
we're all
I
sharing
watch
information.
they can watch all. It's
Correct.
fine. There's no difference. And I forgot to mention, there's also another one, A2K.
Oh yeah, we met him. We met him before.
Production-wise, brilliant, really good, very professional reviews. Primeval Media as well. I met both of them at the Prison Pass launch actually. Very nice guys.
Primeval's not in Singapore anymore, right?
I met him at
I think he moved back to.
I'm not sure, but I met him. I met him at the Prison Pass launch. Very nice guy. Jonathan, I think is his name.
Joshua.
Sorry.
Yeah, he reviewed he reviewed a couple of stuff from us. I think when we first started Dreamcore. No, Dreamcore.
Oh, Dreamcore PCs. Okay.
So he was really kind. He was a really nice guy. He purchased without telling us a PC, and then he did a fantastic review on it without. And after that, I was like,
secret shopper.
After that, I was like, why didn't you just let us know? We'll send you one. So really nice guy. But it hasn't been that active for a couple of months.
I also spoke to him about it. Yeah, he took a break for a while, but he's back. Yeah, so there is a community, just that none of us are really making waves and getting huge. But it's the nature of where we are. Yeah. I mean, your own channel as well.
We are smaller.
We are all small in terms of channel size.
Okay, let's get to our first topic. So you have currently using a 2700X.
I'm on a Zen 2 2700X with an RTX 2080. Biggest regret of my life, but yeah, it is what it is.
But we are giving you a.
Yes. Okay. So no, they're not giving it to me. Don't give it the wrong idea. Although whether you get it back or not is another question. So my 2080 has had some issues, so we're gonna send it back to get it either repaired or replaced. I'm not sure. So in the meantime,
for anyone out there who wants to know how this works, is that usually if it's for the same generation and you have issues with your 2080, it's very easy because I have stock of 2080s and I just swap it out for you, no downtime, and then I send it off and it may take 4 or 6 weeks and it'll come back. And that's typically how it works. But when with a 30 series cards come in, everything is end of life.
Yep, pretty much.
You give me the card, I can't replace it with anything.
Yeah.
I can't swap it out for you with a 3070 and I have to
Yeah.
ship it back for 4 to 6 weeks.
So it's gonna take 4 to 6 weeks. I didn't know that actually. Okay.
Usually longer lah. So that's
wow.
actually the struggle that all system integrators like us face, because how do I honor that warranty with my customers if something is end of life? And it's also not feasible that I keep a store of end of life cards, just waiting for RMA to happen.
Well, to be fair, the responsibility of replacement of warranty lies with the manufacturer.
Correct.
You guys are going out of your way to make it easier for your customer. That's a
Correct.
different thing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But 4 to 6 weeks.
You guys are just being very nice. So, hey, I've spoken to some system integrators that just sort of wash their hands whenever they can. So you guys don't do that. So that's good. Yeah.
Good to know. But yes, so we've loaned you a 3070.
3070. I might do a review. I wanted to do a review of the...
Actually, that's true. You might as well do a...
Yeah, I wanted to do an Asus actually sent me the 3070, the Asus Tough Gaming 3070 to
Did you do it in the end?
Nope, I didn't. I sent it back because I have no time.
time.
I have 4, now it's 6 product reviews that are, what was the word?
Pending queue.
Pending queue and past their deadline because of my PC and because of other things. So once I get it, like I couldn't, I told Asus, I'm sorry, I can't, I'll send it back to you guys. Next time when I got time, I'll take it back. So
do they pay you for these, or at least let you keep? Okay, so again, this is on the side note. So brands also ask us to make videos for them, and I think a lot of the marketing team, they think it's really easy. Just do some fancy B-roll, cut it together, but actually it can take days to do benchmarking, to do thermals.
Exactly. To be fair, when I do product reviews, sometimes it can be easy, but not for the reasons that people might think. So, sorry, am I too far away from the mic? Okay. So, like for example, let's say I review headphones. It's easy for me to review in the sense that first of all, I'm a trained audio engineer, that's one. Number two, I've experienced a whole ton of headphones and that it's so easy for me to pinpoint selling points and bad points about it like that. And I didn't have an idea of how I want to review.
You didn't see the record button not pressed as an audio engineer.
That one I didn't, but I'm not familiar with the device. Disclaimer. But then, when it comes to things like PC components, graphics cards, CPUs,
more complex.
it's so complex, and not just complex. I mean, for you guys, it might not be complex because you guys know what you're doing, but it is still very time-consuming.
Correct.
I mean, no matter how knowledgeable you are, a benchmark takes how long a benchmark takes. That doesn't change.
Run 3 times.
Yeah,
and
you don't run it once. Exactly, you can't just run it once.
Average.
Yeah, so it could, like, I can review a pair of earphones in 3 days, 4 days, sometimes even the same day if I'm rushing. You guys need a much longer time. But and then sometimes you'll be like, oh, I can pass you, I need it back in 4 days. I'm like, what?
So so technically we'll only do that if it's a really, really important. So we sort of trade like exclusivity with time. And if they have something really, really exclusive, yeah, sure, I can drop everything and do it for you. But if it's something that's sort of on the market for a while and you just want something,
correct. No, but to answer your question about whether I get paid or whether I get to keep the products, as far as PC components or as far as Asus is concerned, no, never.
Asus, take note.
So I mean, to be fair, I've reviewed things like $3,000-$4,000 laptops. I reviewed the Asus Mothership 10,000, and that was actually quite funny. That week or 2 weeks that was in my house, I was so paranoid. I was like, make sure the windows are locked, make sure the doors are locked. I'm like, I cannot be responsible for losing a $10,000 laptop. But yeah, so I don't expect them to give it to me lah. Even they give it to me, so I'm like, what am I gonna do with it? No.
Actually, that's true. You're gonna end up with like 10 graphics cards and
exactly. So
20 monitors.
I mean, although when it comes to graphics card and CPU, if you're watching, I don't mind some.
AMD, Intel.
AMD, hi. Yeah, but no, all my reviews, regardless of whether I get to keep it or not, it's always on the premise and the condition that my reviews, the observations are my own. They have no influence. The only thing that I would say is that if I were to do a review and if I'm not sure about certain things, I always check with them and say, is this information correct? That's the only time I actually check back with the manufacturer.
So you do send it to them?
No. I tell them this information.
Okay.
Is this correct? And then if they say yes or no, then yeah. But that's as far as I would go.
Okay. And then you're going to be upgrading to your 5900?
I want to. I want to. There's a lot of things I want to upgrade to. It's whether I can do that at the moment is a different issue. Because I mean, people ask me like, how much money have you made on the channel? I'm like, I cannot answer that question, but I can tell you how much money I spent on this channel.
Wow, Eva, how much money I spent on the channel?
I mean, okay, your equipment is a whole different thing. Both of my cameras are still cheaper than your one Blackmagic camera. But I made do with the money that I had.
Yeah, I think we have a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and sorry, for full transparency, yes, I have started earning Google ad money, but it's nothing.
Not yet.
It's not yet like
Soon, bro.
cents. So cents per view or something like that. So and not cents per view, like it's like literally like 3-4 cents per view.
Okay, so this is what I've learned. Maybe you want to go in that direction.
Yeah.
Kids songs. Baby songs. Songs for babies.
As in, you want me to make up songs or review songs?
No, you should not appear in the camera anymore.
Yeah, I would say, because
produce
this face kid songs, no.
Produce
I'll be on CNN.
content for babies, like nursery rhymes.
Oh,
you know
like
why?
review toys like the Ryan kid, right?
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
Because if I want to calm my kid down at dinner, what would I do? Play the same video on repeat. And because it's Baba Black Sheep, it's never going to grow old. If people like that content, they'll continue playing it for the end of till the end of time.
You would think that, but when you do back-to-back repeats,
Doesn't
the
count.
number of ads is a lot less because YouTube does that so it doesn't piss people off. So like for example, if I want to watch let's say I watch, like one time I was binge watching some of your motherboard the reviews, right? I got ads on about half of them.
The other half, no.
The other half, no, it just went straight to the video. I didn't even have like ads in between.
Oh no, but it's more on they'll play it once during dinner and then they'll stop. And then when they go to
Okay.
they'll play it again.
If there's a time in between, then
Yeah.
yeah. If there's time in between, then yes.
And so this is evergreen. And what I've recently there was a news article that came out. Baby Shark has 7 billion views.
Yeah.
And if you make like $3 per 1,000 views, that's like a lot of money. I think
That
that's
is a lot of money.
yeah.
I mean, Uncle Roger won't say this, but he's earned quite a fair bit from his fried rice videos. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, okay, so Zen 3 has been awesome. Thanks, Lisa. I think we talked a bit about Blackpink, Lisa, but I'm gonna skip that.
Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. Bye bye, Intel.
Yeah, but I think Zen 3 is fantastic. They've sort of improved the IPC 19%. They really just tried to be the gaming king, right? Intel has always had that crown, highest clock speed.
Yeah, they just basically tried to kick Intel while they're down with that one thing that Intel still held on with its weakest hands and still tried to hold on, and then AMD went, no, it's mine.
Yeah, 10th gen Skylake refresh.
Even though they haven't hit the 5 gigahertz, not yet.
Yeah.
4.9 on the 5950.
I think we talked a bit about how frequency always isn't the final, go-to. Like 5 gigahertz doesn't mean everything. Everyone's trying to make it hit that number because it's a vanity number, but IPC is just as important, instructions per clock. And that's what AMD has really doubled down on by sort of merging the cores and the architecture.
Yep.
So they've definitely achieved that. Best gaming, best content production CPU. But Intel will be launching the Rocket Lake CPUs.
Wait, before that,
Q1.
what did the Intel CEO come out and say? Oh, AMD is done, but no, we've got a new design for our brand.
New brand, we're gonna rebrand, fire a whole bunch of people.
But okay, let's be honest. How good could the new Intel chip? It's not 10 nanometer yet, right? There's still delays,
10.
right?
It will be 10.
It's gonna be 10.
Yeah, it will be 10.
Okay, but
I think it should be 10. Yeah.
20%. 20%?
Yeah. Supposed to be 20%.
Faster?
Yeah. Than their existing 10 gen. So that would make it slightly faster than Zen 3, I believe.
It would if
If their marketing numbers are
that's
correct.
true.
Lah. So what I've realized is that usually AMD tries to give accurate semblance of accurate-ish marketing numbers, and Intel is always out of whack. They're just like, we're the best at everything, but here's a whole list of caveats. Like,
Okay, so we talk about all these tech brands, Intel, AMD, even Apple. When it comes to giving information in their launches, Apple is the worst. Intel also.
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We will get to that. Okay? But yeah, so you have all these wonderful graphs that basically tell you nothing.
No
or tell you one
x-axis,
thing.
no y-axis, no numbers.
Yeah, it's crazy. And okay, to be fair, AMD when they showed their graph for their we'll talk about GPUs later.
Yeah.
But even like AMD also
CPUs
they put CPU's graph also 19% this and that. And to their credit, they were willing to show games and all that where even Intel was still faster than them.
Yep.
So kudos to AMD. They are still better than Intel and all that. So yeah.
I think as an underdog and you really have improvement in tech, it's much easier to go and say, hey, we're not the best, but we're almost there. And I think everyone will celebrate just that fact.
Yeah.
But you're incumbent and you lose, then you start to cover up, right? We are better at using iGPU to encode H265 in Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, about your question about Intel, when you're asking about Intel, I honestly don't think it's going to be that much better than Intel. Technical wise, I don't have a lot of reasons, but I think because for the first time, AMD 5950, and I think even the 5900 are more expensive.
Yes.
So for them to do that for the first time makes you think that, they are very confident that even when Intel releases their new line in 2021, it's still not going to live up.
Yes.
Maybe on core-wise at least. Core-wise.
Yeah. So I think Rocket League will cap out at 8 cores for sure.
Yeah.
10 cores is dead.
Anything else would be Xeon, I guess?
Or their X.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Their high performance PCs.
I'm pretty confident that Intel's not going to be this.
So what's going to happen is Intel's going to launch the Rocket League, then AMD is going to cut the price because now Zen 3 has been around for a couple of months. Six
That's
months,
right, I forgot about
6 months
that.
by then.
Yep.
They just cut the price and then Intel's sort of in trouble again. So it's a good time for a consumer, good time for you to upgrade your PC.
Yes. Seriously considering it. But yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about the whole price war thing.
Yeah.
So it could just be AMD giving itself a good buffer.
Yeah, because I think when you're in a league, you have some leeway to charge higher. I'm not saying it's unwarranted. I think the price is fair. I would.
Yeah, it is for sure. Intel has no comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AMD has loaned us a 5950X. We don't want to return it, but I think
They are expecting it back, is it?
They've already called us. They've already called us for it. We're like, we lost it.
Sorry, it got stolen by Intel.
Yeah, but again, I think I don't have time. So even if I had a 5950X, I'm just gonna surf YouTube.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, that's the thing. Recently, I finally had the money to buy a kick-ass 2 years ago gaming machine. Yeah, no time. I'm just editing videos.
Well, but it still works for video.
No, I do get to play one game, Dota 2,
I thought you were gonna say Premiere Pro.
which would have run just fine on a 1650.
You still play Dota?
I love Dota. No, not Dota 1, Dota 2.
Yeah. So you rage on people, kind of?
No. I'm very civilized. I mute my microphone.
What was it? MMR now?
Okay. I said I love playing. I didn't say I was good at it. Okay. I'm too old. My left eye is gone to hell. I'm wearing contacts. You can see my.
Oh yeah, okay.
So my left eye is gone to hell. So looking like I'm not that good. Although that's not an excuse. I'm still shit. Okay, it's a skill thing. Okay. But yeah, I play Dota 2 a lot. Almost exclusively now. I only play other games when I'm benchmarking or reviewing a monitor.
Among Us. I've never played Among Us.
Among Us, I tried on the phone.
Is it good?
Phone.
Sus.
It's okay. It's fun. You need a big group for it.
Okay.
If you got 3-4 people, it's over very quickly.
Some really sick guy, I don't know, he made a 3D version of Among Us. Oh yeah,
and then when someone gets sliced in half,
yeah.
Oh,
I was like,
man.
This guy has so much time. He made a 3D version of a 2D game. I'm like, what?
There are a lot of people with a lot of free time. Like the guys who made like a more scary version of Pokemon Go. They made the trailer. Did you see that one?
No. What?
It's scary as hell. So it's a trailer about how these animals are kept. It's more like a dark
real,
side of it. So that and these people are all independent. Yeah, but then you got the good side of it, like the former developers from Tencent came out and did the Wukong trailer. They're developing the.
Oh yeah.
That was insane.
Oh, like Monkey God,
Yeah, so Wukong. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So they developed it, and it looks like it's going to be the first AAA title from China.
Wow.
And it is.
And why not, right?
Yeah.
That's a perfect.
And these guys are
character.
doing independently. They're not hired by anyone. These were developers, I believe, formerly from Tencent.
Huh.
So they came out and they started their own, and now they released that trailer.
So do they have Tencent backing?
No.
Oh.
And they're trying to get people, because they say that they're still at least 3 years away from releasing. You go and look at the graphics.
Okay.
It's like, I don't think...
It's okay lah, Cyberpunk also 3 years lah. Then they delay.
They are just, Cyberpunk is playing punk, okay? One day, they're just gonna tell you, hey, actually, by the way, we never did it lah. It was just all, trailers, you wanted to see how...
That is Star Citizen.
Ah, okay.
That is Star
That was
Citizen.
the one that went through
Kickstarter,
Kickstarter, not Indiegogo. Yeah, Kickstarter, and then...
Oh, it may be Indiegogo, I don't know. Like, now they raised
One of
how
those,
many $100 million, haven't released the game yet. I don't know why people are putting money into the game.
Yeah.
No, but what do you think of the new Radeon cards? I mean, obviously, it's going to be launched soon. When was it supposed to? December? November? 18? Oh, that's so long.
Oh, I thought it was like early December. Okay. I'm sorry, I thought it was in November actually.
But from initial reviews, initial launch, they actually showed real game data. I'm really, really hopeful because, back in the day when they had Raja Kuderi, whatever his name is.
The guy who dropped the card in front of Linus.
He
Wait, was it him?
Maybe Linus dropped the card in front of him.
No, he dropped the card in front of Linus.
It's probably him.
Yeah.
But he came out with this whole new different architecture with HBM memory. It was revolutionary. It was so expensive. AMD wasn't making money on the cards, but they were super fast. They were super fast for, I think, content creation, like rendering and 3D works.
Correct.
But it wasn't fast in gaming at all. And then the card cost a bomb. But now they're actually back to challenging NVIDIA for spec to spec. Like the 3080, meets the 6800X. The 3090 hits the 6900 XT.
There were some games where the 69 surpassed the 3090.
Correct.
But then it comes to the question, and it comes back to the issue of how, these graphs are always missing a lot of information.
True.
The graphs shown by AMD, they never said whether ray tracing was on in that performance or not.
Ah, yes. And they are supposed to be able to do ray tracing, but again, we don't know how well because this is sort of their first ray tracing.
And it
card.
works with DirectX. They don't have tensor cores or anything like that. But the other thing is, okay, first of all, I really doubt AMD is not going to go like, oh, by the way, our card was running RTX off, NVIDIA's are running RTX on. No, they're not going to do that because the backlash that they would get from that will be too much. So I'm sure they're not going to do that. But like you said, it might just be both RTX off because we don't know how the RTX is going to work. It's mostly software based in DirectX.
Correct. Maybe it's RTX on and then AMD is weaker. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the cards are cheaper.
Yes.
They perform better.
The 69 is what, 500 US cheaper?
Yeah, but NVIDIA sort of went weird with that one because it was like 999 and then it was 1499. It's like, what are you doing? Like, there's a huge gap. But I think the 3090 was meant to be a Titan sort of replacement.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there were rumors like earlier in the year that they're going to do away with the Titan naming convention anyway. So the 3090 might be their Titan.
Yeah.
So that they don't alienate the Titan from people who want to buy it.
So I think those are extremely exciting cards that everyone is waiting for. And it sort of caught NVIDIA off guard, I think. And then the 3080s are in shortage, so actually no one can get a 3080.
Actually, speaking of that, I have a theory. Okay, you know what? You're gonna call me the conspiracy theorist.
Here we go.
No, but I'm not the only one that thinks this. Now, NVIDIA knew that AMD would have something big up their sleeve. Okay, so they made sure that they did their launch way before AMD's one. Despite knowing that they are never going to be able to meet the... I mean, let's be fair, even if they're a huge stock, they still wouldn't be able to meet demands. But I'm very sure they had all of maybe like 100 pieces. I don't know. But they had very little that they knew that in good conscience they should not be launching it at the time. But they needed to get the sales in before AMD starts. Or launches their card. And that's also the reason why... Yeah, and they find out the pricing.
Performance.
Correct. And then NVIDIA is screwed. And then the reason why they waited to release the 3070 after is not because of, we wanted to wait till we got more stock, because you're back to the same issues again with the 3070. So that's BS. I'm sorry, but that's BS. They just wanted to wait for AMD's launch before. And there's always going to be a way for these companies to find out what's happening with the other company. There's always a way.
Yeah.
But I think the 6900 threw them off because if they knew that was going to happen, they wouldn't have priced the 3090.
1.4 or something.
Yeah. It's such a big gap.
Yeah. 999, I think I would buy it, man.
Yeah. It's crazy. And the thing is, AMD is doing all this performance, yet still going at a 300 watt TDP.
Yep.
You're looking at 320, 350 for like the 3090.
So NVIDIA used to be like the efficiency king,
Yeah.
right? When the 20
AMD
series came
was the
out.
one they
yeah.
will make fun of, like overheating and blah blah blah.
When I still remember the day where what was the 2990 and where you had double GPUs on the same card. I think that was the best performing card, but it sucked like 500 watts of power.
Yeah. No, and it's not just the GPU, the CPU as well. It's like what, 105?
Oh, like Bulldozer, FX series, like.
No, I mean the TDP of the Ryzen CPUs.
Oh
like the
yeah,
new
no,
ones.
yeah, the same lah, exactly the same.
Exactly the same, and you're looking at so much more power. I don't know what kind of voodoo magic they did, but I don't understand how they did it.
Zen tree.
Yeah, Lisa,
What are you doing?
Well, how are you guys doing this? It's like,
Which god do you worship?
Yeah. Is AMD just willing to show their hand more than Intel and NVIDIA, or is NVIDIA and Intel just keeping their cards in terms of this kind of thing? I don't understand.
No, I think it's a sort of underdog mentality. You always have to put your best foot forward because that is the one that gets you more customers, gets you more a loyal fan base. Everyone loves underdogs.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you're up there, you're sort of like, okay, I'm number one. What can I slowly release? To really gain more market share, gain more money. It's not a question of ethics. I think once you're there, it's a business decision, right? Like what do you want to release first so that you can always have something in a pipeline for what's coming next.
True.
Whereas AMD is different. They have to make their mark because if they don't, they'll be run to the ground. They'll have no customers, no money.
I've never made the argument that it was an ethics thing. It's not, unless they start withholding information or just flat out saying things that aren't true. Which, by the way, Intel started that all AMD chips are glued together.
That was weird.
So that was unethical. Even though there was an argument behind it that the term glued together, there is an actual argument for the term like being glued together. It's a technical term, but Intel knows that the majority of people don't understand that and just thought that glued together doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
So that was unethical.
And I think Intel sort of cheapened out on the soldering of the CPU for a long time because they added extra cost.
Okay.
And then AMD came out with their, all the CPUs were soldered to the heatsink, the IHS, and that gave it much better conductivity.
Yeah. And AMD has also proven that you don't need to change your chipset every freaking time. That's another thing. Oh, and by the way, usually, a lot of my friends used to ask me, which is better? Should I get NVIDIA with the Intel chip or should I get AMD with AMD? For so many years, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But now, it does.
But we don't know anything about that yet, and they haven't really tested it.
Well, they did show a benchmark of it being was it between 8 and 13% better?
Yeah, but
it's their own graph lah. So I'm really waiting for the big guys who get the cards first. Of course, you got Linus, Jay's 2 cents,
Dreamcore Tech, AMD, give us a card.
Tech Genius, Tech Jesus, sorry.
Tech Jesus. Oh yeah, Steve.
Yeah,
I love the guy, man. The guy don't care, just no filter, just does what he wants.
Yeah, I love his expose at MSI, but anyway, that's a whole different thing. Yeah. But yeah, that one will be really interesting. All I can say is it is a beautiful time to be alive if you're a computer or gaming.
Consumers win at the end of the day with competition.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Actually, we should embrace such changes. But that is why there's rumors flying around the web that NVIDIA has sort of held all the 3080s back so that they can launch a 3080 Ti.
If they do that, you mean they purposely hold stock? Is that what you're saying?
From my understanding, there's only one card that's in shortage, which is the 3080.
The 3090, okay, not many people are going to buy that, but okay.
Yeah, so 3090, there's stock, and it's a very expensive card, so it's only meant for professional users most of the time, or people who really have a lot of money and they want the best of the best, but it's not going to fly as fast off the shelf as 3080. And 3080 is in massive shortage now. Everywhere you go, Amazon, Newegg, BH Photo, whole of Singapore is out of stock. People are scalping the thing.
Yeah.
So
apparently me, some companies are as well.
I mean, to me, it sort of lines up well with what you're saying about how they're preempting the big Navi launch, and once they do that, the AMD 68, all of them have 16 gigs of graphical memory, and then that helps it run games really well that need such a huge amount of space. That definitely trumps the 3080 with only 10 gigs. So now they're sort of just waiting for a 3080 20 gig. 20 gigs. And that will just slot nicely in between that, huge as 1,400, USD price point. But those are all speculation, rumors. We don't have any concrete details. But
Yeah, I mean, it is possible, but I don't know. If NVIDIA does that and they get found out, I don't think that's a risk they can take.
we're the number one, man, top dogs.
Well, not for long, apparently. But yeah, I guess so. But I mean, who knows lah? But for me, I feel like that's a risk they wouldn't want to take. But I guess,
But I
possible.
think even for us, we've already been, customers are asking us like, when is the 6000 series being launched? Which shows a huge demand for, a GPU that's competitive. I don't think there's a huge loyal fan base that I only want NVIDIA cards. It's more like, if you can give me the performance that the other guy can give, I will consider using your
I
tech.
don't understand fanboyism for GPUs. Why? Why are you
Or fanboyism
fanboying
for everything.
Yeah, or anything. Like, these companies don't love you. They don't care for you in a sense. I don't get it. Like, just get which one works better for you.
I care for you though. I mean, yeah.
Well, you're not Intel, so. But yeah, I mean, just get whichever gives you a better value. Why do you want to... I mean, if there's a practical and actual difference and a reason why you want to stick to the company, fine. But we're in a position where right now it doesn't make sense to be loyal to one of these brands.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there is no reason.
So I think what's really important is you find something that meets your needs, most importantly, rather than blatant fanboyism.
And you can actually get.
You can actually get. So you shouldn't be overpaying for something that you're not going to use. So always do your research, and more importantly, also make sure that the service is good,
Yep.
the feedback is good, and you get the best after sales service. I think that's important as well.
Yes, I mentioned this also in one of my reviews. And like, stop asking me like which one is cheaper, but this one is cheaper, $100. Like, yes, but you get no support. What is the point? And in fact, when I did that feature for you guys about why you want to get a system integrator instead of like going to SimLab and all that, yeah, it makes sense. Like, not everyone has the time or the knowledge to take out something and go and replace it yourself. Go to someone who can do everything for you. That kind of after-sales support that is worth paying more.
I think that we can probably cover that in a different video,
Yeah.
but the system integrator market is a growing one. I mean, it's nothing to do with Dreamcore, but I think the underlying point is that consumers are now going towards e-commerce, very heavy on e-commerce,
correct.
Lazada, and they want
Or forced
things-
to now with the current situation.
yeah, forced to now, and they want. Yeah, so actually, COVID was a perfect example of why you would go to a system integrator.
Yeah.
You can't go down the SimLab, and you get brilliant service. You get a brand name sort of servicing you rather than you get something and then you have to sort of RMA yourself with the vendor. So I think that's sort of the trend going forward, and yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll see more of system integrator kind of businesses in the future, which is great because again, competition is always healthy for consumers.
Definitely, yeah. The more competition it is, like as for me as a consumer,
Yeah,
I'll be like,
you're laughing.
I'm
You're
laughing. I'm like, whatever. You'll go stand one corner and argue, whatever. Just whoever
Yeah,
give me
I'll
cheapest,
just wait,
I'll buy
wait,
it.
wait.
Yeah, it's-
11 sale.
exactly. Like there were people like I remember when StarHub and M1 and Singtel were like trying to poke at like TPG coming in, saying that we're actually so crowded. I'm like, whatever, dude. When they come in, even Singtel, everyone lowered their rates. Whatever, I still pay less. Even with the phones, like with the Realme phones and all that, the other like the more budget phones that I've gotten, they've become so good to the point that other big brands, when you want to buy like a Note 10 or Note 20, you really have to work hard to justify that price.
Yeah.
And I can get a $300 phone, and if you're just a regular phone user,
It's more than enough. You
it's
don't need
more
like
than enough. You can't even
Snapdragon
tell.
875.
Yeah.
You don't need any of that. Get a Note.
Exactly, and this is
OnePlus Note.
all because of competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not I wouldn't call it an evil thing or what, because if I was in a position like Intel, why would I want to go out of my way to hurt my business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think competition is great, not only for consumers, but even for companies themselves, because I don't want to be leading the pack and just rest on my laurels, and don't innovate, I don't bring in something new. And competition really drives, pushes us to the wall, pushes us to our limits.
Exactly.
And it's fantastic. I can't, without competition, it's boring, man.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
I think it's Apple time.
Apple time.
So backstory, Apple obviously launched a new Apple Silicon.
They have
which is-
moved from Intel to their own ARM chips.
So now Intel has lost against AMD and they've lost Apple as a customer.
And again, Intel, your own doing. Okay.
So 2 days ago, I think Apple launched the M1 silicon, 5 times the performance,
Yeah.
6 hours more battery life. But again, like I think we talked about earlier, these graphs don't mean anything.
They don't.
at
They
all.
are just squiggly lines on your screen. And it was the same thing throughout the entire launch. They just kept showing you and just throwing you numbers, which makes you wonder: is this the typical Apple customer?
Yeah.
I mean, like, to be fair, Apple also tries not to give you too much information. But at the same time, a lot of Apple customers don't really care about a lot of this.
Yes,
sense,
and I think
unless you're talking
that-
about professional users.
I think that really does attract the crowd.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, I think Apple users are customers who go for simplicity. They go for fast free. They don't want to know whether it's an AMD or NVIDIA GPU. They just want to know it's the fastest, right? And I think that's why Apple appeals and that's why the graphs are as such. But I think for us tech people, we'll be like, huh? Because the graph shows like
Yeah, I was like,
It's-
what is that? That's nothing.
better than 98% of last year's PCs. Like, are you sure? Because last year's PCs have 2080 Ti's
And they'll say like, oh, best in its class. I'm like, you're a Mac. You are the class. What are you talking about? And then they were saying that, oh, how many times better than the Windows laptop in its same, like, you know how many Windows laptops there are?
exactly so many.
But that M1 chip, like, what do you think of the whole architecture? It's basically not even a CPU, it's an SoC.
Yeah. So I mean, SoC just means
System
on a chip. Usually when you have your PC, we put together PCs every day. You have your motherboard, your CPU, your RAM, your storage, your power supply elsewhere, your graphics card, right? So system on a chip basically combines all those things into a single silicon die. So you have your CPU, you have your GPU, you have your RAM. So the RAM one is the important point we'll talk about later.
Yes.
Then there's the security, what is it? Enclave.
Like the TPM, the platform.
Apple
their version
Security
of TPM.
Enclave,
Yeah.
And they have all this on a chip. And there's still a motherboard, but I think the motherboard is more for like other connections, like to the display and to batteries. So they came out with this, and it's based on ARM, right? And ARM obviously makes the stuff in your phones, like Snapdragon. And I think ARM's been sold to NVIDIA, by the way.
Yeah. That's another thing. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that, but I forgot. But I mean,
So what do I think? I think it's fantastic. Because what's happening now is that it's a strange place where sometimes applications on your phones are running better than they're on the PC, and you sort of scratch your head and wonder why. Like you can edit Final Cut Pro stuff on an iPad. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And on your PC, you're like getting stuttering frames and stuff. So what they're doing is, I think, is the future. And I think AMD and Intel have to sort of sit up and take note because I think there was a company called Nuovo or something. Basically a whole bunch of ex-Google, ex-Apple employees, they left and they started this server CPU company.
Oh, is this the modular one?
No, they're just going to make like non-x86 CPUs, and I think it's going to be based on ARM.
Oh.
And they're basically going to disrupt, the market, and there's a ton of investments in it. They raised like a few $100 million already.
Oh.
So we're going to have an exciting, age of non-x86 sometime in the future, and it's all because of actually, I think, smartphones, where they become so capable. So yeah, I think what's happening now, the M1 chip is like a smartphone on steroids.
Pretty
And
much.
they're putting all this into your new MacBook Airs, your MacBook Pros.
Yeah. But there are a few products that are missing, but we'll talk about that later. No, but okay, actually, while we're on this topic, I legit want to know, like, what's the difference between an SoC and an APU?
SoC and APU. So the SoC has other, not 100% accurate, but has other stuff.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
I don't know everything. So for example, the RAM is on the system. It's basically a full system on a chip.
Okay, wait, this is SoC, right?
SoC.
Yeah,
So
okay.
APU is only the GPU die and the CPU on the same die.
okay,
That's
okay,
it.
okay,
It doesn't
okay,
have any RAM modules on. It doesn't have any security. It's just these two things.
Okay, then that makes sense.
So system is like a real full, sort of almost full system that can be run off a single thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it handles.
okay.
Yeah, so the system on the chip also handles the Thunderbolt, whereas on the normal motherboard, it has a separate Thunderbolt chip on a different part of the motherboard. Yeah.
But yeah, so like having this sort of M1, like you're calling it M1, right? Yeah, M1.
Not Singtel, not Starlink. TPG M1.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is this really allows a heck of a lot of performance in something like a MacBook Air.
Yeah.
Because Apple has always been, in my opinion, it's always been aesthetics over function. Where aesthetics over performance. It's not that they don't perform, but in that sort of scenario, they will be willing to make concessions with the performance to make sure that they keep with their design.
Industrial design.
Yeah, industrial design. So with this M1 chip, it looks like they've managed to finally get to a place where you don't have to worry about that so much, because your RAM, everything is in that chip. Now the MacBook Air can really maintain and really be that small.
Thermal temperatures,
thermal temperatures, the fan, and then things like supposedly editing 4K 60 FPS videos on a MacBook Air.
Yeah, that's quite insane. I think that's a boon to creators.
Yeah.
Everywhere, students like. So back in the day, back in the day, I'm quite old. But back in the day, I wanted to buy a camera, like a DSLR, right? And then my mom was like, no, those things cost $3,000, $4,000. In the same vein, now they cost like, I don't know, sub $1,000, you can get a decent one. I mean, just taking pictures, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening now. As tech progresses, everything is sort of commoditized. You get cheaper items that can do so much, and it's really fantastic time for content creators.
Okay, but one thing I don't know if they mentioned it, I might have missed it. Even though they have this sort of performance on the MacBook Air, what about their monitor? Does it have a proper DCI-P3 color gamut
monitors?
cover?
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, the laptop screen. They didn't mention that, did they?
No, they had a P3. Yeah.
Okay.
The Air, they had a P3. I think they upgraded it slightly, but for the MacBook Pro, it remains the same, which is
MacBook
still
Pro
P3.
is, okay.
Yeah, so that's still fantastic.
So it is basically a good professional laptop now for people who want something lightweight.
So I think the weirdest feeling that anyone's gonna get right now is so they launched 3 things. They launched the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, and the Mac Mini. So the weirdest thing right now is all 3 of them share the same CPU.
But they got different performance, right?
It was gonna be the same, roughly the same.
Because like one was like 3 times or 5 times, then the other one was like 4 times. Then I was like, hey, wait a minute. I forgot which one. I'm like, they're all using the same chip.
No, so I think what's happening is like in the MacBook Pro, they have active cooling. So now, because the MacBook Air is thin, right?
Air is passive, so they probably had to lower the...
So now they can sort of, push the performance a bit, cool the chip actively. But yeah, ultimately it is the same chip. So you're going to be wondering like, what do I get? And the MacBook Pro just has a touch bar and the same chassis. So the thing here that my takeaway from the launch video is that it's a rushed production. And what they're doing now is they're taking the existing MacBook Airs, Pros, and Mac Minis, and they're just stuffing the M1 chip in and sort of calling it a revolutionary new product. It is, sort of, but to really see the new designs, I think we have to wait for 2021.
I'm honestly very surprised. I thought they were going to wait till next year. I did not expect it at all. Like usually you get rumors coming in, blah blah, you start to sort of feel like, oh, it's time for an Apple launch. But they already did one.
No, but I think it makes sense. So what I suspect is they're launching it now with existing products, so they don't have to retool any of the chassis, any of the screens. And because now it's a transition phase from x86 for apps, crossing over to Apple Silicon.
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about later. I think I wanted to ask. Yeah.
Then they have the Rosetta, which can port apps, and then they have. So now there's a period of uncertainty and sort of like everyone doesn't know whether the apps will port well.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. So they're not going to invent a cool new product during this testing phase. Once all the apps are ported over, then that actually makes a lot. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Yeah, when you say it that way. Yeah, so I think once the M1 chip and App Store is super mature, they're gonna have an M2 chip with new radical designs for everything.
Actually, that's what I was wondering. Like, are they doing this because when it comes to the iMac or the Mac Pro, then they will release like M2 or whatever.
Probably gonna do
and then
M2.
it might be a different design. I don't know, but. Yeah, I think that's what they're doing now. I think you're right. Yeah. The thing that pisses me off the most though, and I'm gonna start with the color commentary. So it's great that the RAM is part and built into the SoC, right? It's great.
No, that's what I was gonna talk about. Yeah.
However, did you go on the website and try and just like for fun go and see?
$200 lah to add.
200 US to get 8 gigabytes more of RAM. Now basically, Apple can do whatever they want because if you don't agree with them, like last time, I don't want to buy a RAM, I'm going to get my own RAM and put it in. Now you can't.
Okay, but they've sort of already done that by soldering the RAM on a lot of the MacBooks. But yeah, on the higher end MacBooks, I think you still could replace.
Yeah, but you see, this also covers their other issue where they were fighting for a long time, which is right to repair. See?
Yeah, that's messed up, man.
So like, I mean, it sounds like me being very negative about it, but just think about it for a sec. They've been fighting right to repair for ages.
Yep.
Okay, now they had to concede. Now they have their silicon chip with something that no one else is going to be able to make, because you can't just make extra RAM.
You can't just replace
cut
it.
the SoC RAM and then glue together. It's not going to work that way. So no matter what, as an Apple reseller or repair, like authorized repair or whatever, you're still gonna have to go and get the entire chip.
And they made it so complex that if you have experienced any failure whatsoever, you can't just bring it down to an independent third-party repair guy who says, okay, I can sort of change the RAM out for you, upgrade your storage, or...
I would be very interested to see what Louis Rossmann has to say about this.
Who's that? Oh, is it the guy that...
The right to repair guy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he has a repair shop in New York.
Like Linus
New
went to
York
his
City.
shop,
He
right?
went-
Yeah.
He's huge now, and he was one of the front runners in fighting right to repair.
Yeah.
It was Louis Rossmann, and then you got the guys over at iFixit.
Yeah, yeah.
So these guys are pushing for it. So this, in a way, of course, there are other reasons why they went to silicon, and part of it is because of Intel. But this is another way to fight it. So this is the design of our chip. So you have, if anything goes wrong with it, you change the entire chip.
Or motherboard.
Or motherboard,
yeah.
logic board, or whatever. So I'm sure Louis Rossmann have a lot to say about it. I'll be quite interested.
But on the flip side, I think what Apple has done is really... I think it's still good for the industry.
Ultimately, apart from all these other issues that you mentioned, it is still incredible what they've done.
It's innovation.
Yeah.
And I think innovation is key. They've really changed the way how CPUs are made. CPUs, how they interact with, and they're the only manufacturer now that does the full spectrum from CPU to
Oh yeah, that's right.
OS to the physical product. So
And now because the GPUs inside, basically GPU
Yeah.
as well.
So
Yeah,
they have
I
the
didn't think
physical
about that.
control of the entire vertical, and they don't have to rely on third-party suppliers. And one of the reasons why I think they kept the M1 chip across is they get economies of scale.
Yeah.
Now my whole MacBook range uses the same
Just
chip.
one chip.
I don't have
to
a-
make like 5 different chips.
Yeah, like you were saying just now, Intel naming convention is so
Yeah.
convoluted. They don't have to use like a whatever 10125 what. Don't even know.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's yeah. I actually didn't think about that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they have in full control over the entire thing. Yeah, but
And they can make things more affordable, and which is what I
it
think
remains
they're
to be
doing.
seen whether that becomes a plus point, or whether, since they have full control, why would they want to lower the price?
That's true.
Yeah. So do you think? I mean, if you think about it effectively, it's sort of like Intel's Big Little in the sense of having powerful cores and efficient cores.
Yeah.
And do you think? And I think Intel was already going to make, right, something like that. There were rumors about it, which is part of their Big Little thing.
Okay.
So do you think that that's the direction everyone's going to take now? Because you get I mean, apart from performance, and that was the biggest drawback is
Why
performance.
can't you get big? Just have all.
No, I mean like, okay, specifically for laptops. Like honestly, when it comes to M2 for like the Mac Pro, I don't think they're going to go with little cores. There's no point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like for laptops now, do you think that they're going to move towards that direction? Because if you look at the sort of, like, let's say you had like they've been trying it. They did a CX7, I think, Snapdragon, to put it in a laptop, and you get like what, more than 24-hour battery life. Because that has been one of the main emphasis when they develop chips for phones, is to make sure they last as long as they
Correct.
can.
Yeah.
So that's something that they have made huge strides in, where places like where companies like AMD and Intel, it might not have been an issue, because they've been going for pushing power. So Snapdragon is going like, we want power, but we got to make sure that the phone lasts.
Yeah, but the problem here is that it's a fragmented market.
Yeah.
So you get your big little chips from another company. You get software from Windows or software from Android, and then you get your third-party manufacturer of the hardware itself, like Huawei or whatever. But for Apple, because they own the ecosystem, everything is optimized,
Yeah.
perfectly, and I think that's still a feat we haven't seen in any other company.
Well, not like when we talk about the rise of machines, like IBM did that, I believe.
Or PowerPC lah.
Power PC and all that. So that was, for kids watching, this was like in the 70s, 80s. Yeah. So that was the last time actually. So you're talking about 50 years ago. It's been 50 years since the company had full control. 50, if you're talking about from the 70s to
40 years lah. Oh yeah. 50. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So 50 years since the IBM and all that. So that's the last time a company has full control. But then they started to outsource everything because it was cheaper.
Wait, when was the last? What was the first PC that you bought?
Oh my god.
The floppy disk.
Yeah.
Like the real floppy,
The
not
real
the
floppy
144,
one.
the real
No.
floppy one.
What was that called? I forgot. I remember my screen was just green. Okay, it was just green lines. It
Wow.
wasn't color screen. Okay, it was a
DOS?
Pentium, DOS. But of course, you had Windows 3. Not the 3.1, 3.11 for work groups. Oh
What
wait,
do you do?
no, the green screen one was before the Windows.
Probably
one.
before
Yeah. So
Windows,
it was
had
a 286, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Yeah, 286, and you had both drives. You had the thin, big drive, the
And
floppy
fat one.
and then the fat one.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember there was a puzzle game.
Snake.
No, it was like a jigsaw puzzle, literally, of different dinosaurs.
Wow.
And that game, which was like literally kilobytes of information, had 4 discs.
I'm gonna find it
Yeah.
and upload. Maybe we still can play it. So my earliest memory was actually DOS, a DOS based one. I think it was blue screen, like blue and purple or some weird
Wow.
UI. Then to play games, I think there was one game called Froggiton or some frog game. And then the famous
The
one.
jumping over the pond. one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Then I think the famous one was Snake, because Snake for Nokia's actually came from this.
Yeah.
I used to play that for hours, and then I moved on to I think 3.1. That was the more.
I never
GUI
actually had 3.1. I went straight to 3.11.
3.11. Okay,
Yeah.
the work group.
The work groups one. Yeah.
But same lah.
Effectively the same. It's just extra, like, it's like basically Windows Phone, like Windows Pro kind of thing.
And then I think the earliest big game that I played was Duke Nukem.
Oh, mine was
Yeah.
Championship Manager. Championship Manager 90.
Hey, that's quite
That was
old.
still
Yeah,
DOS. That was DOS.
That was DOS.
That was DOS. So I had to go. I still had Windows.
Yeah.
But I had to go into DOS.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So back then it wasn't the predominant operating system. DOS was. Windows was effectively.
Oh, you still
a
had to run.
program.
Yeah, you still had to
I
run
still had
Windows.
to run
Yeah.
Windows. So I had to get out of Windows, go into DOS,
prompt.
put in my Championship Manager CD, and then play. It
That
was like
CD
91,
drive.
92 or 92, 93.
Wow.
Yeah, that
That
was
was the
my
day.
first major game.
That was the day before internet, guys.
Yes.
And I don't think
Yes.
many of you have experienced this before internet.
You guys don't know slow internet until you've had a 14.4 kbps
Yeah,
dial-up
then it was
modem.
28, then it was 56. So you're like,
And then you pray that no one calls your house.
yeah.
Yeah, because if someone calls, your internet is gone.
Mom!
Yeah, downloading a picture
What
will
picture you
take
download?
5 minutes. I won't say.
Bro, what picture you download?
I won't say.
So your auntie called, right? Then you're like, wow, bro. Yeah, those are really.
Yeah. And then I remember, like, later on a few years, like, I want to watch, like, let's say I download an episode. I'm not going to say how I download. And I'll be so happy that I'm like, what, 25 kilobits per second? Wow.
Yeah. That was the day of Napster.
Napster, Kazaa,
Kazaa.
LimeWire.
You guys
Oh my
have it good,
gosh.
man. Now there's Netflix.
What was the first, like, okay, I don't know whether you're asking, like, what's the first thing you torrented, so I'm not gonna ask that.
So yeah, actually, you were asking about this earlier. This is a real Mega Drive. So
I never had that. I had a Famicom.
So this was huge, you know, because back then computer games couldn't really run well on PCs. So consoles were a thing. I think consoles are still a thing. PS5, you know, Xbox.
This is a RCA output.
Yeah. But this is the real deal. I played Sonic on this. I played a lot of Sonic. You know,
And our phone now is not even like an expensive phone. A mid-range phone is more powerful than
Street
this.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently my mom doesn't throw away things, so I still have this. I actually
quite a
want
bit of money now,
I
actually.
actually want to see whether it still works because it might.
Let's do that!
No. But let me see, man. Let's just take a look. I haven't opened this in a while, right?
Oh my god. 16-bit.
Oh, dude.
Oh my god.
So we have the full. Thanks, mom, for not throwing it away. We have a cartridge. Oh wait, this is a.
Key, what is that?
I forgot what a Mega Key does. I think it just sort of breaks the country specific card, so I could buy cartridges. I think I can't remember because I was a kid then.
It's like
Mega
the whole
key.
regional CD kind of thing.
We probably can't test it because I don't have a cartridge. But yeah, it's really awesome. Like,
Oh,
check this out.
I don't believe it.
And then what you had to do was you had to like blow the cartridge. Oh, it works magically.
Yeah.
Because I blew dust inside.
I always wanted the old Nintendo. I never got it, but I got like a bootleg, like a Famicom. I remember.
Was bootleg Famicom?
Yeah, it looked like the Super Famicom, but it was actually an older one.
Okay.
And then like we used to buy the bootleg cartridges that had like 50 games in them.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Those were the days, man. I think you and I are.
And this is what? Late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, I think
It's amazing that you think that now the performance that you can get, like now we got a PS5 coming up, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
What do you mean? You can play all the games that you can play on a Raspberry Pi for like $90. So,
Definitely. I mean, there are N64 emulators on Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
actually, I want to build a Raspberry Pi, like a handheld.
I've always wanted to learn this kind of things. Yeah, but I don't know much about it. But apparently it's supposed to be one of the easiest things, like it's a good stepping stone to learn. No? Okay, never mind, forget what I said.
No time to play games, no time to learn new things.
Have you covered everything?
Yeah, I think we covered. So we can actually come to the end of our very first talk show.
Yeah, it was fun, really a lot of fun.
It was fun because Eugene forgot to record
Yeah.
the audio the first time around.
And so
out of beer.
Next time we'll get more. Now it's only one.
I think next time we have to put a whole
put the cooler here.
6-pack here and then. Okay, so I think we're trying to bring a bit more fun to all these, tech reviews and just sort of grow the community. I think I've known James for a while now, and we definitely like to share insights amongst all the Singapore YouTubers. So all the guys that we talked about earlier, we'll sort of link them below, just so you can find out more about the tech YouTuber scene. But yeah, I think we covered most of the things we want to talk today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Really
no worries.
It. It was fun.
We can do it at your place the next time. Do the
space,
video at your place the next time.
Maybe we'll see how my house really got no space.
But yeah, okay, so thanks James for coming and hope you guys have fun. If you want to see the next one, make sure I always forget this part.
No, well, first of all, like if you guys have ideas for topics, let us know and then we can think about it.
In the comments, give us a sub, give us a
thumbs up, subscribe, blah blah blah. Alright, thanks, Ed.
See you in the next one.